So who uses Mpesa these days? Who is using Mpesa? Who is using cash? Everybody is using Mpesa these days. Whenever it's the mode of payment, whenever you want to pay for something, nobody carries cash, and that is what we are doing here in Kenya. And I think it is gonna go even to other countries. But here in Kenya, we are, and we are gonna discuss this. Be very worried if you are using M-Pesa. I don't mean to threaten you. I just want you to hear this from good Joseph, because he's telling us something that we never even thought about. How can this be happening to us? Let's listen in.
Is that this will actually go to everyone who is out there, because M-Pesa has actually sort of like penetrated even to the lowest levels of transactions, even people in the up country or whichever you come from. Now, they are saying once they go through that, then they can say, hey, you know what? We don't think you're worth to sign or file nil return. We think you're supposed to pay us. For example, I'm just drawing random numbers. Let's say, for example, they say out of the transactions that you made in a whole year, let's say 300,000, then you are supposed.
Hey, that is KRA, if you didn't know. It is KRA that is coming to target your money. You who uses M-Pesa and files nil returns, you are in problems. You transacted, so you are bound to pay KRA some tax. And I don't know how to say, but let's listen in. It's the internet that has just gotten down a bit. But this is information that is supposed to be heard by every Kenyan. So when you hear this, when the internet comes back and we get to listen to this, share widely with all Kenyans, let them hear, because this is sad.
And you're like, no, that money that you had seen being transacted there, I actually received that money and was supposed to do 1, 2, 3. It actually all went to the expenses. Okay, they are like, okay, we don't have a problem with that. Then proof that there, I actually received that money and was supposed to do 1, 2, 3. It actually all went to the expenses. Okay, they are like, okay, we don't have a problem with that. Then prove to us that indeed all that transaction went into the expenses. Now that's where the problem comes in. Why? Explain to us all these expenses. You tell them this and that. They tell you, no, we want a validated expenses track records. Not just a receipt. Somewhere in your local area, somebody wrote you a receipt and said you bought goods worth 30,000, 20,000, 13,000. No, we want an ETR. ETR is that receipt that is usually printed. I don't know how I can explain what is an ETR. Probably you can go check out what is an ETR. The one that you don't handwrite it, like the one that you are given in the supermarket, which is automatically generated. So an ETR. And remember, it can be generated from the supermarket. Sure, they can actually go ahead and accept that. But you have to indicate your KRA pin there. Now, in other words, I'm telling you, it is going to be messy, because most people usually avoid the bank transfers, and they can do a what? And the mobile bank transfer. Although we have a capping in our mobile transfer, amount of money you can transfer in a day is usually capped at 500,000. And maybe let's say you are transferring more money, you would actually do a 500 today, 500 tomorrow, and something like that. The fact remains here that they are saying they are no longer considering nil return. I'm making this video on around date 28th of March 2026. 3 days, because they say they're gonna open the filing of nil return at the 31st of March. And I think this was a bit timely, because right almost when they were opening that filing of nil return, they have actually declared, no, I think we will not accept that nil return. We will only accept it if one can actually substantiate that indeed all the transactions we saw through your mobile number was actually meant or went to the expenses, and there is nothing else that you as an individual can actually be taxed. Now this will actually cause a lot of chaos. Why? Because people are thinking or believing that any transaction through a mobile number has already been taxed. And I didn't know this, but I was educated that there are two types of taxes. There is what we call the complete and an incomplete. I don't know whether it's full or something like that. There is that tax that when you pay, it is complete. You don't have to pay anything else. For example, if today you invest your money, say in a money market fund, and then they deduct the withholding tax from your money, that is a complete. You don't have to pay anything extra. It is usually 15% withholding. So once they deduct that, they tell you that is a complete. So whatever you get, that is yours. But there are some taxes that once they deduct it, they still expect you to add on top. Are we together? For example, say they deducted 5%, they're still expecting you to remit another, say, 5%, so that it can be a complete tax. So some of you are arguing, me included, the transactions on the Mpesa, they are what we call the transactions. For example, if you send 1,000 shilling, I think it's around, is it 29 shilling or 25? Around there. That 25 shilling, let's work with 25. That 25 shilling, they say some cash goes to the Safaricom, which is the owner of that particular infrastructure called Mpesa, and another fraction goes to the government. Now they are like, if you then tell us we're gonna tax based on the much you transacted, and yet I had paid the transactions, then that would be a double taxation. And again, I'm withdrawing that money to go buy a packet of flour and a packet of milk and both the water else. Also, that packet of milk and flour has already been added the VAT tax. And remember, I'm employed somewhere, and let's say I get paid by the M-Pesa. So the employer have already been deducted the pay. So is it not a triple, triple kind of taxation or something like that? So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be an issue. I do not know how exactly they will handle this. I do not know how exactly this will actually transpire, especially when this information actually goes to the larger population out there. And this can even to some extent deny somebody to actually go for the. I saw somebody on the social media celebrating that they do not own a KRA pin. And I was like, you see, that you cannot invest in this country if you do not have a KRA pin. You can't buy a parcel of land. You cannot even sort of like, get electricity. You cannot connect yourself to water. It's like an equivalent of a social security number in the US or something like that. So the fact remains, I don't think there is need of celebrating because you do not have it, because at the end of the day, you will still need it. So that is it, guys. I wanted to report to you to that information. If you have some people who are out there and they have their KRA pin and they are not aware, inform them of exactly what is going on. What are my predictions? I can see a very messy moment, especially once we near the closure of the filing of returns, which is usually on the 31st of June of every year, because this will bring a lot of confusion. Right now, as we speak, the way we used to file the returns is totally different from how it is transforming to be. It is quite over different times that we are living, and I really hope we're gonna find a neutral ground with the citizens and the government, such that sure, nobody has a problem with paying the taxes, but let's do it in a manner that everyone feels comfortable. We need the developments on a very serious note. We want to pay those taxes. And again, we don't want to hear news like, for example, some few days ago, I saw a newspaper saying that over 11 billion money from the e-citizen was actually stolen. Now, tell me, you're being deducted all those taxes, but in the next minute you hear money is being stolen. And yet that money you've earned in a very hard way, and then they're just going to the coffers and scooping and running away with it. It is quite over trying times. It is disheartening, by the way. It's not a good one. I don't want to say you guys be fair. Somebody told me life is not fair, whatever it is, but let's try not to crumble our country to, I don't know, to its knees or something like that. But anyway, let's not go to the political part of it. But
Hey, guys, this is news that will sadden many people, because as he says, if you are employed, you are taxed. When receiving your salary is taxed. You go to the supermarket, you buy an item, that item is added tax. There is tax on that particular item. Then that transaction that you are doing on M-Pesa is still going to be taxed. And oh my God, where are we even heading as humans? Are we going to be stripped naked by these taxes? if you can go even to the money in the bank to go and tax money that is in the savings account, then we are doomed. Who is gonna stand for us? This information is very important and everybody should hear it. So guys, please, I don't know what to tell you, but that is the way it is. You have heard it for yourself. What do we say? What can we do? Drop down in the comment section, share this video widely, and let us interact. See you in the next one. Bye.